if you've been watching my stuff recently, you'll know that I've been playing Monster Hunter World a bit on my channel. But a new world has dawned upon the gaming sphere, and that is Palworld. And I have been playing it for the past 2-3 days, maybe. I've got about 20 hours into it. And I gotta say, it's really good. So I wanted to kind of go over some of my thoughts on this game. Maybe you're on the fence on getting it. Maybe you're, I don't know, playing the game and you just want to see what other people think. Whatever. And I'll maybe give you some insight. So this is what my camp is looking like at the, I don't know, 18-hour mark or so. So you can fly on PALs, not Pokemon, on PALs. This is where my starting base is and how it's looking. So I think we have 13 PALs working for us at the moment. If you're unfamiliar with the game, you basically set down a machine that is kind of like a PC in Pokemon World. That's where you store all your pals, and then there's a big ring around it, and that's your base. Within your base, you can have a certain number of pals working for you. They all have different affinities and tasks that they're good at, tasks they can't do. And as you upgrade your base, you can increase the number of pals you can have working in it. And then you have to keep them fed, keep them happy, whatever. And then you can have up to 5 on your person. So these are ones that you'll attack with, that you'll use as mounts, etc. So I use this as a flying mount. This is a fast ground mount. This one I can use as a glider. I haven't made the equipment to do that yet because I just have a glider. I use this one for combat, and then I use this one for combat as well. They all have their own passive effects. So if you go to one of these, so you can see that he has a passive skill. He increases your max carrying capacity while he's in your party. These are his work suit abilities, the amount of food he's going to consume. So basically, the higher this is, the harder they are to keep happy. And then, in addition to that, you have a technology tree. So this is based on your character level. As you level up, you gain tech points, and you can unlock these crafting recipes. And it just keeps going, and it's a pretty nice progression, I would say. The only thing that kind of I got stuck on for a little bit were metal ingots, but I found that while metal ingots were taking up a lot of time, that things were requiring a lot of them. So it was like, okay, there's going to be a better way to do this. And, in fact, there was. So after you get your base high enough level, you can make a second base. And so I found an area that had a lot of ore veins, and I just slapped a second base down on top of a place where a bunch of ore veins spawn, and filled it up with pals that are good at mining, good at carrying stuff, and this big-ass dude who's really good at making ingots. So I guess come over here, put that to max, put him to work, and yeah, he just plows through it. So yeah, it's kind of insane. I got lucky with him. If I didn't have him, I'd just use a regular guy, but yeah, he's really good. And then every now and then I come and I help them out, fill up the boxes, and it's good stuff. So if I'm needing more than what they're generating, I can just do that. So all in all, I mean, just that alone, that system alone, right? The base, creating a secondary, ooh, a chest spawned over here. Creating a secondary base specialized for like mining. I think those are pretty cool mechanics that it's honestly done well, and you don't see either done it all or performed very well in other games. And this is early access, right? So this is going to get better. And on top of that, the map is actually pretty big. Like, you can see how much I've played and how much I still have to discover. So, I've still got the rest of this. I need to see this area. I think this is like a desert, and then some shit over here. I haven't gone to the snow area yet. Because, like, I haven't done everything in these areas. So there's a lot of content. It's done well. The combat is, I mean, it's nothing, like, amazing, but it's fun, right? Like, you can make your little PAL team. They have synergies. There's a damage triangle. Capturing them is kind of like whatever. There's not too much to it. You just get them low and you throw a ball at them until they get captured. But, I mean, I don't think it needs to be any more complex than that. There are little bosses around the map that, as you kill them, you get some special resources, and they respawn after like an hour or so, and you can go again. You can capture the bosses, so you can get like special versions of the monsters. That's cool. There are dungeons. The dungeons are pretty samey from what I've seen. They're just like a few generated paths, and there's some pals that you'll only find in dungeons, so there's a reason to do them, but they're nothing too special. They're just instanced zones, really. There's a lot of fast traveling, so getting around is pretty easy. Once you get a flying mount, you can kind of just go around and tag fast travel points and really fill out the map that way. Yeah, crafting's good. There's a lot of options. Let's go into negatives. So for the negatives, it can be very frustrating to get a pal to work on a specific thing sometimes. So he's on fire. Let me see if I can kind of demonstrate this if I go to my main base. So let's say I want to craft something, or I want a pal to craft something. I can specify, what I want to make, and then leave it. And then I have to wait for someone to come either auto decide to come do it, which I don't know if everyone has this experience, but it feels like handiwork is very low on the priority for pals, and they hardly ever do it. Like, they'll work on it for a couple seconds, and then they'll leave. One of the concepts in the game for assigning tasks is you can pick up a pal. So, like, if I see this one, I can press F and pick it up, and I can throw it at something, and it will kind of dedicate to that station for a little bit. So it says, assignment to workbench, and then they'll wait until I have them craft something, and then they'll specifically work on this bench. But let's say they get hungry and they leave and they go eat, they lose their assignment, or at least they have for me. And then if you just drop them out in the open, they'll go into auto assign and they'll just look for stuff to do. But before I had this character who really just carries stuff and does handiwork, I could hardly get anyone to do handiwork, which is really annoying because some things are very slow to make. So, for example, I don't have the stuff for ammo's very slow because it crafts 10 at a time, and I needed a lot of it. And I could not for the life of me get anything to prioritize making that fucking ammo. So I don't really like the picking up and throwing them for assignment. I would like I'd like a menu or something where you could set priorities on the pals and be like, so for example, if you ever played RimWorld, you can prioritize the things that the people do. And so I would like to see a priority system put into the game for your pals, and then have them not do specific things. So, like, if a monster is good at mining and logging, you can say, okay, well, I want you to just log. I don't want you to ever mine. Stuff like that. And then there's some, like, just buggy stuff, right? Sometimes pals will get stuck on top of objects, or their pathing will get frozen up, and then they won't be able to get food or anything. So I have to like come over here and take them out, put them back in, and it'll respawn them in the area. So that's a kind of a minor inconvenience. Really, I think the worst thing is not being able to have finer control over the things your pals are doing in the base. But once that's fixed or improved, top tier, S tier, like base management gameplay. Let's talk about the open world a little bit. So if you leave your base, you know, really all there is to do is gather resources and find pals. To find pals, there are a few methods you can use. So you can go around and you just find them during the day. There's some that come out only at night, so that's cool. There are rare spawns. There are lucky versions of pals that can spawn, which are larger and shiny. I don't know if they're actual, like, shiny, like, off colors. I haven't seen any of those, if there are. I've just seen lucky versions. There are some villages you can find, some vendors. So you can have gold, and you can sell things for gold, and you can buy things for gold. You can commit crimes. So if I fought this guy, I would get an assault charge, and then guards would come try to fight me. And then I would have to either keep fighting them, kind of like GTA, or hide until my wanted level goes down. And like I mentioned earlier, there are dungeons you can do. So there are pals that are exclusive to dungeons. So that's a part of the open world. And then there are these towers, which are boss fights, like larger scale boss fights than the ones that I showed you earlier. I've only done one of them so far. I could probably do another one. I've had so many other things to do that I've not really been concerned about it. And then finally, in the open world, there are enemy camps you can go to, and you can kind of like raid them. It's not much of a raid, but like you can kind of, I missed. You can kind of go in and fuck with them a little bit. And once you clear them out, there's usually a pal in the center. And once you free them, you automatically get them, so you don't have to catch them or anything. So that's kind of how the game works in terms of the open world and finding pals and stuff. The combat is really just you have an attack, right? You have a left-click attack, and then if you want to try to avoid stuff, you press, I think it's default control, uses some stamina, and you can do a roll. That's all there's to it, so it's pretty simple. The controls, by default, the scheme is a bit weird. I need to change mine up a little bit because I don't like roll and control. I'll probably put it on Alt so that I can hit it more quickly with my thumb, but... yeah, the controls are a little off. They're not bad. It's just... I think they are a little less conventional. I think I've kind of gotten used to them now, though. You can see over here there's some syndicate thugs, so there's like this region's human NPC enemy. And they're out here kind of fucking around with the animals. And I can join in and take a attack of opportunity on them. If they say get like pals low while they're fighting the pals, I can jump in and try to capture one, but I don't really want anything of these, so I'm just gonna shoot them in the head. But yeah, I mean, that's really about everything there is in the game. There are some collectibles that you can use to upgrade your catch ability. They're really easy to find, though. They just take some travel time. So once you get a flying mount, all you do is just fly up, let it get nighttime, and then just look around for anything that's glowing green. So they glow very brightly at night. And then that's kind of how you find the fast travel points as well. They just glow red. Over there, I think that's the Desolate Church, Fort Ruins. There are a few areas, like the one that I have my second base, that have a lot of ore spawns that are good for building a second base. Oh yeah, right here. See that green over there? That's a leaf monk statue, and you gather those to increase your like capture rate bonus. So it's a pretty good gameplay loop. It's pretty quick. Like, it's pretty easy to understand, I think. If you're interested in this spot, this one's easier to get to than this area. This was just the first one I found on my flying mount. This one, though, this one's easy to get to without a flying mount. So if you ever want to make a second base for ore, maybe try this one out. There are eggs you can hatch for pals you find out in the world. So overall, I suggest, if you have the means, picking up the game. It's early access, but to be honest, the game's... I don't know if it has an ending, so I don't know if I'd say the game's complete. But as far as being a game, having things to do, and being functional, I think the game is pretty complete and is worth the money. I would be happy with my purchase if they stopped production on it immediately. But as far as I can tell, probably just starting, because they've made a lot of money on this game. So, I think it's well deserved. So if you've been on the fence about this, I say go for it. Otherwise, if you've already played the game, and you are interested in more videos about this, please leave that in the comments. Any guides, any gameplay videos, anything you're interested in. So that's my 2 cents on the game, and until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.